on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now today we're behind the wheel of my 2002 Subaru WRX, probably one of the most nightmarish cars that I've ever owned. So long story short is I bought this car at auction about a year and a half ago, and when I got it, it didn't have a key. It had stuff stolen on the inside of it, as well as eventually I bent the valves in the engine. So with this, it's got a EJ206 engine swap, so it's a JDM swap from a twin turbo Legacy. We can go into more details about having to do that. It had a bent lower control arm. Tire was blown, so it has a brand new set of tires. You always want to make sure with the all-wheel drive cars you do all the tires at once. And basically besides that, it's been great. And it does have some other modifications as well. What I want to do today is I just want to take it out on the road and just kind of give you my overall thoughts of what it's been like to own a Subaru WRX. It's such a love-hate relationship with me because I probably should hate this car because it has just brought me so much grief and it's took so much time, effort, and money to put it back together to the point where I deem it as like a really trustworthy car that you could drive every single day. But at the same time, I really do enjoy this car, and I think I'm going through like some sort of Subaru phase right now in my life. So I've just been really enjoying it. So without further ado, let's just get behind the wheel and we can go over what it's like to drive. Now you've probably seen this car or heard about it because they're just a very popular car nowadays. I mean, the WRX is kind of like the quintessential versatile car that you could pick up that can do a lot of different things. It's got the rally heritage behind it, and I mean it makes for, you know, a great street car. It can make for a great rally car, off-road car, even just a daily driver that you don't even want to modify one bit. And I think that's what's so great about them. And for this particular model, this is known as the Bugeye in the Subaru community. Just for like the front end look, it kind of looks like a bug, especially with the fog lights too. And I would say it's kind of an acquired taste, especially if you're looking at this car for the very first time. I will say that the design has really grown on me, and what I like about it the most is it just really carries the Subaru weirdness with it. In comparison to the newer models, which are a little bit more neutered and catered towards a more broader audience, this was like when Subaru was like still doing like the weird, crazy stuff. And even with the driving experience too, it definitely feels like that. I will say that the in-cabin noise is not very good. It kind of feels like you're rolling around on a skateboard. But in return, what you get with that is you feel everything that is going on with the car. And of course, there's going to be some weird squeaks and rattles that may sound concerning to you, but you kind of get used to it. I mean, it's almost a 20-year-old car at this point, so I don't expect it to have the fit and finish of something that just came off the showroom floor. But what really makes this car so much fun is just being able to have something that you could drive almost all the time that is still very practical for what it is. I mean, it's just a tiny little station wagon at the end of the day and is able to do so many things. And in this form, it's actually lowered, so it does have a Petters spring and coil combo. So it does give the lowering characteristics that you get with like coilovers, but nothing too crazy, as I'm kind of going through this bumpy road right now. So, you know, the ride is going to be a little bit stiffer than stock, but it doesn't beat you up on the long distance drives. And I think that's the biggest point to note, is that you could take this car and, you know, go far distances and it doesn't really fatigue you. Now, if you have a car with full-blown racing coilovers, that's going to be a different story. And I think that's where the modding culture has really came with these cars. You can do so many different things with this chassis, and parts are readily available all the time, and that's a great thing, as well as being able to find used parts. I mean, if you really wanted to, you can hunt down almost any parts you can think of specifically for this designation of chassis, and all it takes is just spending a couple days going down the rabbit hole of Facebook Marketplace, and before you know it, you could have a laundry list of stuff ready to make whatever car you would like. And what's great too with the Boxer engine is it's unconventional. From other cars, this has the flat 4 Boxer engine layout, something that you don't typically get from a lot of other auto brands. With that, it can be frustrating, and I think that's where the stigma has came around that these cars are very unreliable. But I would say it's just as reliable as any other car, but the biggest thing to do is just keep up with the maintenance. I mean, with anything. And you see these cars go 200,000-300,000 miles with little to no issue as long as they're taken care of. And just knowing with the turbo EJ engines, it's not going to last as long as the naturally aspirated ones. As you know, typically the 2.2 NA is like the most rock solid Subaru engine that you can get. But with this, I haven't had any major issues after doing the twin turbo legacy swap. And what's so much fun with this too is it makes all the right noises. Oh, another fellow Subaru driver. That's another thing too, is when you see another person driving a Subaru, it is almost mandatory, especially if you drive a Bugeye, to give the other person a wave, and they call it the Subi wave. Like you can do like the whole 5 fingers, you could throw up the 2 fingers, but it's just like a thing. And it's so crazy how much attention this bright blue little wagon gets just from other Subaru drivers. And you know, it's a good feeling. But if you're not trying to get noticed by other people, maybe this is not the right car for you. I mean, it sticks out like a sore thumb. We're not going to lie here. And today I actually just have the 2011 WRX wheels and tires on it. But typically I also have a pair of gold Enki RFP1s. And when I put those on a car, blue and gold Subaru, you can't even go 5 feet without everybody looking and pointing at you. But just getting into the overall driving experience, this does have upgraded sway bars, upgraded suspension, end links are upgraded as well. And I don't know if this is going to pick up, but you can hear all the choo-choo noises coming from that turbocharger. It really loves to wind out. Of course, in typical Seattle fashion, it's actually raining right now. So if you were in a high-powered rear-wheel drive car, this would be the time to go home. But in this is when this car starts to come to life. I mean, it's amazing how good the all-wheel drive systems are in these cars. It could be pouring rain, you could be in the snow, you could be in any sort of condition. It could be mud, dirt, whatever you can think of. You throw it at this car and it just locks up and it just goes. Now, I know a lot of that is just going to be biased too towards what kind of tires you have on the car, but it's remarkable just having these performance all-season tires on and gripping traction and doing a highway pull. I mean, it's it's remarkable, honestly, for what it is. Hold on. That never gets old. If you were to ask me to sum this car interior up in one word, it's going to be simplicity. You get no gimmicks, no knickknacks, none of that. I mean, even the speedometer itself is so simple that somebody that was just going to hop into this car day one and start driving it would know exactly what's going on. And I hate to admit it, and I will say, for the fit and finish of everything that's in here, the plastics are hard, things are squeaking, things are rattling. I mean, this is just kind of how cars age as things go on, and especially for these cars, they're just known, you know, to make noises while you're driving and stuff like that. Now, am I gonna sit here and tell you that this is a luxurious interior? It is not. It is not. It is not. It is not. Now, in terms of the actual JDM EJ206 swap, what you need is the long block. And basically what I did is I got a long block shipped to me from California, and it was out of a Subaru Legacy GT twin turbo. Now, if you're wondering if you can put a twin turbo engine into a 2002 WRX, it is not possible, because the steering rack gets in the way of the sequential turbo setup, that you wouldn't be able to run it unless you did some crazy modifications to get it to fit. So what I did is I took the block, and what you have to do is you have to plug up the lines that go to the second turbo that are on the left, and you keep everything that's on the right. So that's all the original stuff, and all it takes is just swapping things over. So you're going to use your US intake manifold that originally came with your car, as well as your turbocharger, downpipe, all that stuff's gonna fit perfectly on the car. So thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.